is here?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Oh. Are we ready, Brian?
Yes.
For beautiful, for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountain majesties above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed His grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea.
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
That was great.
Uh-oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Lost my PowerPoint. Oh, what
Keep going.
happened?
I don't know. Just
Okay, so if I do that, there we go. All right.
I guess I'm up. For
That's you.
friendship and peace, we render thanks, O Lord. Bless our table, deepen our gratitude, enlarge our sympathies, and order our affections in generous and unselfish lives. And in so doing, encourage us to conduct our days in the spirit of Rotary. Amen.
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 Oh, all right. Thought of the day. Truth is still truth, even if no one believes it. A lie is still a lie, even if everyone believes it.
Very appropriate.
Hmm.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm gonna stop sharing and then we can reshare when you're ready for the video.
Okay. So I just want to remind you guys, June 12th, they have that the Morgan Hill has a community project that they asked all of us to go in. And that's June 12th, starts at 8 o'clock, and it's at that park, Gavilan Park. And I'll send the Evite out with directions and all that later. They did send me a bill, so about $700. So that's good. We're going to spend more of our endowment money. So I got the cost for the community project, and I'm also getting a bill for the foundation that we need to send to Area 6. And then the next thing is we already assigned people for July 17th at Gilroy Gardens to be at the front desk. And that was you, Jesse, and Chris. And who was the third person?
I think it was maybe Joan.
Joan Perry.
Okay, good. And then other people who aren't assigned, Ken and I are going to be doing a booth in the friendship place, House of Friendship, and we're going to show off the play garden that we're working our fundraisers, so to generate some interest there.
Did you mention my name?
I said Ken.
I'm gonna be up in Oregon, unfortunately. As much as I'd love to join you,
No,
I'll be in Oregon.
Where?
of course.
Sharing joy with my family reunion. Family reunion.
Okay.
Important.
Okay, so what I do need is.
Greg said he would do it.
Okay.
I did not say anything.
So what I do need is help in setting up a poster. And so, like we did before. So like we did for the football game. So that's all. I do have some 11 by 17 posters that we are using for this thing.
So
So
we're looking
maybe-
at Tuesday, July 6th, is that right?
No, that's Saturday, July 17th.
Oh,
And that's at the Gilroy Gardens.
oh yeah, I got it.
Okay.
Okay.
And that's all I have. Hi, Chris.
Hi, Brian. How are you?
I'm fine. Okay, Jesse.
All righty. I'm going to share my
So
screen again.
Jesse's going to put up this interactive video that was sent to me, and it's about a project that's being done in Guatemala. And it's very interesting about how people cook in Guatemala, use all this wood and stuff. And this is, they came up with a new stove. So why don't we put it on?
Hello, and welcome to this interactive presentation we've created specifically for Rotary clubs, just like yours. My name is Forrest Reasoner. I'm the Operations Director for StoveTeam International, an organization based in Oregon that works in Central America to provide cook stoves for families who would otherwise be cooking over open fires like the one you can see behind me. StoveTeam was founded by a Rotarian here in Eugene, Oregon, and since that time, we've been supported by Rotary clubs around the country, as well as Rotary districts and Rotary International. We're so thankful for the support we've gained from Rotary, so thank you so much. I'd like to start out today with a short video that explains the issue of open fire cooking around the world. That video will go straight into a second half that shows StoveTeam's founder, Nancy Hughes, talking about how she founded StoveTeam with support from her Rotary Club. It's about 5 minutes long. I'll jump in at the end.
They make this world black.
My hands were like grease. You couldn't wash it away.
The pots were black. The air was black. It was impossible for breathing.
We have seen forest reserves in 3 years completely gone, not a single tree standing there.
Three billion people use biomass, so wood, dung, charcoal, agricultural waste, and they cook those on very rudimentary open fires.
The most dangerous activity a woman in the developing world can undertake is cooking for her family. And most of them have a baby on the front or a baby on the back. So that baby is inhaling so much smoke it's equivalent to 3 packs of cigarettes a day.
Cooking on an open fire contributes more black carbon to the atmosphere than all of the cars and the trucks in the world combined.
To make a ton of charcoal, it takes about 10 tons of trees. The forests are just vanishing.
The production and distribution of ultra-clean cook stoves that nearly completely eliminate smoke and reduce fuel consumption.
This new stove, look at this with your eyes. There is less smoke and it uses much less fuel.
The black is gone. I feel healthier, and my children, they are no longer sick.
What's the best way to design a stove to reduce smoke and increase performance? Our goal is to really bring researchers, designers, engineers, business people together. So it takes all of these people all under one umbrella to get the right stove into the hands of women.
By manufacturing cook stoves, we're going to save thousands of lives, more than 100 million trees. We're going to create local viable jobs, and we're going to reduce indoor air pollution for millions of women. It's an incredible opportunity. We hope you join us.
Well, in 2001, I lost my husband, a family doctor, to breast cancer. I had to figure out what to do with my life. So I joined Rotary, and I volunteered for a medical team in Guatemala. And they asked me, what can you do? And I said, well, I don't know. I'm a mom, you know? So what did they do? They put me in the kitchen. It was horrifying to see what went on there. I mean, we were a team of 120 physicians, nurses, and support personnel. I saw babies who they couldn't intubate them. They couldn't put the tiny tubes down their throats. They were so choked with creosote. Babies died. So I realized what we were doing was really important. So I volunteered again the next year and the next. And on the third year, I was working in the kitchen. You know, I was the head of the kitchen by that time. And what can I say? Anyway, so this young woman named Irma, who was about 18 years old, beautiful, speaking Quechua, came into the kitchen and she said, can you delay dinner? Because I want to thank the team. You see, I fell in an open cooking fire at the age of 2. My hands have been burned shut for 16 years. Your team has opened my hands. I mean, what are you going to do? So we delayed dinner. And I said, okay, this is the stupidest thing I ever heard. People are cooking inside their homes with a campfire? The homes are about the size of my bathroom in the United States. So anyway, I came back and I went to the Rotary Club that I had just joined, and I said, don't you do stuff about things like this? So I hustled 10 of my friends, you all can do that. And I said, okay, let's go to Guatemala and we're going to install stoves. We're going to be called the StoveTeam to go along with the medical team. Fine. So these people came with me and I thought we were hot stuff. You know, we put in 120 stoves and I thought, yeah, we've done it. Well, guess what? Then I went home and found out the need in Guatemala alone was for 6 million cook stoves. So I kind of stopped doing that. And then who knew? The leading designer of rocket elbow cook stoves lived 20 minutes from my home. I didn't know that. He knocked on the door and he said, you can't stop doing what you're doing. And I said, I'm over 60, I can do what I want.
All right, so that's Nancy Hughes, and that's how StoveTeam's story started. Now this is the part where the story gets really interesting. The man who came and knocked on Nancy's door is named Larry Winiarski. He's the original inventor of what's called the rocket elbow, which is a very simple but very effective design that allows for the combustion of wood to be used for cooking very efficiently. Just by chance, Larry lives in Oregon, and he came and knocked on Nancy's door, and he convinced her to come with him down to El Salvador to meet with a man named Gustavo Peña, who had a workshop there. They spent several months designing StoveTeam's first cook stove, called the Ecocina. This stove is designed to be built by local people, using local materials, and it's designed to be perfect for cooking the foods that people in Latin America rely on, and using a method that's close enough to their traditional methods that we knew it would be used and enjoyed by people. They tested the stove extensively, and they knew it was going to dramatically improve health and save trees. And so the next step was to find a way to distribute these cook stoves to as many people as possible. Nancy was in her mid-60s at that point, and knowing that they needed to start a factory, she said the last thing in the world that she wanted was to own her own factory in El Salvador. So StoveTeam was founded with a different model. It was founded with a model of helping local people to start their own stove building projects that benefit their own communities and regions. We helped Gustavo to start our first partner factory in El Salvador at that time, which was a little over 10 years ago now. And after that, we moved on to 3 additional countries. Today, we have 4 partner projects that are operating right now, building stoves in El Salvador, Honduras, Nicaragua, and Guatemala. Each of these projects is being run by local people, and it's employing local people. And StoveTeam's role all along the way has been to provide the support that each project needs to get off the ground. That usually looks like administrative assistance in terms of helping to write grants, often in collaboration with Rotary clubs and districts and Rotary International. And it also looks like volunteer trips. Over the last 10 years, we have led 33 volunteer trips with over 500 volunteers, so many of them Rotarians, and we're looking forward to offering these trips again at the end of 2021, once we know it's safe to do so. So this innovative model of helping local people to start their own projects has enabled StoveTeam to grow tremendously over the past 10 years. At this point, we've distributed over 78,000 cook stoves, and because the average family is so large, at almost 8 people in the areas where we're working, that means we've directly impacted the lives of over 500,000 people. But unfortunately, the issue of open fire cooking is so much bigger than that. We previously thought that 3 billion people cooked this way around the world, but we learned at the end of 2020 from a large-scale study conducted by the World Bank that that number is actually 4 billion people. And this issue predominantly affects women and children. Women are the ones doing the cooking in most of these areas. Kids are at home being cared for. And they're stuck indoors with these fires all day long because it takes a very long time to cook enough food for a large family using a very inefficient method like a campfire, essentially. And the biggest health issue is the smoke. If you can imagine building a campfire on the floor of a small room in your home with no ventilation whatsoever, it's the equivalent of burning 400 cigarettes every single hour inside of each of these homes. And for every person living in these homes, it's the equivalent of smoking 3 packs of cigarettes every day. Babies and small children are the most affected. They have tiny lungs that are still developing, more susceptible to the dangers of smoke. And as a result, this is the #1 leading cause of death for children under the age of 5 around the entire world. The most staggering statistic is that this leads to 4 million deaths total every single year. And that number is enormous. It's double the number of people who die from AIDS and malaria combined every single year. Beyond the health effects of the smoke, children are susceptible to burns from these fires, which are often built directly on the ground. Kids are running around, and when they fall into these fires, they live with debilitating burns for the rest of their lives. I wanted to give an example. This is Flavia. We met Flavia while she was carrying all of this wood on her head in rural Guatemala about a year ago. And she was kind enough to talk with us. She told us she's 72 years old. She's been carrying this much wood on top of her head every other day just to keep her fire burning, to cook for her family. The smoke from her fire has severely damaged her eyes, and carrying this much weight has seriously damaged her neck and her back over the years. And this issue of collecting enough wood is a huge burden for these families. It takes a tremendous amount of wood just to keep these fires burning, to cook for a large family every single day. In fact, it takes about 20 hours per week to collect enough wood for every family in many areas. Because it's so time-consuming, this task often falls to children. As you can imagine, that's time when they're not getting an education. So an issue like this contributes to the poverty of a family and of families in an entire region. If kids can't get an education, these families are going to be stuck in the same situation generation after generation. Beyond the humanitarian and health issues associated with open fire cooking, there's also an environmental component. CO2 emissions from open cooking fires around the world are a huge contributor to climate change, but even more dangerous is something called black carbon that's emitted when material is burned with no filtration whatsoever, like an open cooking fire. Beyond climate change, of course, open fire cooking and the need for wood is driving deforestation, not just in Latin America, but around the entire world right now. So for all of these humanitarian and health and environmental issues associated with this problem, the amazing thing is that there is a solution to this particular issue that exists right now. And it's not very expensive, and it's very, very effective. And it's cook stoves. So this cook stove is StoveTeam's Justa model cook stove, named after a woman named Doña Justa, who helped to design the stove and popularize the stove in Central America. This stove is a little bit different from the Ecocina cook stove I showed previously. This stove is built in place inside each home by a team of local people employed by StoveTeam right now in Guatemala. We started this project as a pilot program in Guatemala a year ago to test this new stove model. And I'm pleased to say it's been so incredibly successful that we expect to expand this same project to all of our partner projects in the future. This stove's simple to make. It's made out of brick and mortar. On the inside, there are fire bricks that can withstand the incredible temperatures inside these stoves for many years. And then in between, we pour crushed pumice, which is a very insulating rock. So these stoves are cool to the touch on the outside, even when they've been burning hot all day long. Each of these stoves has a comal on top, which is essentially a griddle. It's perfect for making traditional foods in Latin America. And then crucially, each stove has a chimney. So there's literally no smoke inside any home where we can build one of these stoves. And that's the most important thing that these stoves do. In any home where we're able to build one of these stoves, that family will never again have to worry about the danger of smoke and the danger to their health just from cooking a meal. They can come together and enjoy their time together and know that they're healthy inside their home. Beyond the benefits of eliminating smoke inside the home, there are many more benefits to every single stove. So because of the rocket elbow design that's employed inside the combustion chamber, each stove is much, much more efficient than an open fire. So these stoves only require half as much wood to cook the same meals, and food cooks much faster because it's heating up much more efficiently. Beyond that, because the stoves are cool to the touch, kids are no longer in any danger of burns. And then again, because the fire is burning so much hotter and so much more efficiently, outside the home, there's only about 14% as much smoke being released into the environment. As a result of that, these stoves are saving 15 tons of CO2 each over the course of their lifespans. 15 tons of CO2 is equivalent to the average American's entire yearly carbon footprint. So for all these benefits, each of these stoves costs a total of $100 to produce. That money goes to pay for a local person to go into these homes and build the stove. It goes to pay for all of the locally sourced materials and the local transportation. And it goes to pay for follow-up on every single stove to make sure that it's running properly and that the family doesn't need any assistance. In Guatemala right now, we're working with a municipality called San Martin Jalotepeque. That's a large rural region of Guatemala that's very impoverished. Many people are living on less than $1 a day. We've contracted with the municipality to provide 5,000 of these Justa cook stoves over the next 3 years. By the end of 2021, our goal is to raise $138,000 so that our team of 10 local people can continue building these stoves at the rate that they're currently being built in homes. I wanted to check back in with Flavia. So I showed Flavia previously when she was carrying all that wood on her head. We provided a Justa cook stove for Flavia as soon as we could, and I'm pleased to say she'll never have to worry about the danger of smoke in her eyes again, and she'll never have to carry so much wood just to keep her fire burning. Flavia's story is just one story of a family who received one of our stoves. One of my favorite stories from the last few months is the Perez family. We interviewed the Perez family back in November, and we asked them to tell us how receiving a Justa cook stove had benefited each of their lives individually. And it's fascinating to hear how far the benefits of a simple thing like a stove can ripple out into a community that's so desperately in need. After we interviewed this family, the father of the family, Lionel, came and worked for us, and he still is working for us building cook stoves in Guatemala. And because of the added income that he's gaining now, he and his wife Amanda are able to send their daughter Lourdes to a special school for the deaf, which they had not been able to do previously. Meeting these families and hearing the stories on the micro level of what we're doing, it allows us to connect with the families that we're benefiting on a very important level. And it shows us how much more we have in common with these families than the differences that we see on the outside when we look at their lives and how different our lives look at the outset. The fact is, we all want the same things at the end of the day. We all want what's best for our families. And after spending enough time with the people that we're benefiting, what we learn is that we really are neighbors who happen to live a couple thousand miles away. I wanted to give a couple current events and updates from StoveTeam. So this is Alida Olivas. She's the new owner of our partner factory in Nicaragua. She's a first-time business owner, and she's been so fired up to own her own business. And we've been thrilled to support her, even through the difficulty of coronavirus and tough economic times in Nicaragua. She's steered her factory beautifully, and I'm pleased to say that it continues to thrive today. At the front of the class here, this is Gustavo Peña. He still owns our partner factory in El Salvador. And about 2 years ago, he started a new program where he's going out into schools that are in isolated areas and teaching kids and their families about the dangers of smoke, which many of them had never heard about. And then he's showing them that a cook stove can be a viable option for their family. This has been a very effective program, and we're going to be expanding it to all of our other partner projects in the future. Every school that we visit with this program also receives one of our institutional stoves that they can cook for the whole student body using. These stoves are perfect for large institutions that are often cooking over large open fires themselves. I wanted to take a second and say thank you so much for being Rotarians. Like I mentioned, StoveTeam literally wouldn't exist without Rotary support. We were founded by a Rotarian with crucial support from her Rotary Club, and all along the way, Rotary clubs and districts all across the country have supported StoveTeam's work. So thank you so much. And last, where are we going next? So StoveTeam has directly benefited the lives of almost 600,000 people at this point. But we understand that there's a need just in Central America for approximately 20 million cook stoves. And again, around the world, 4 billion people are suffering from the health consequences of cooking using this dangerous and inefficient method. So we've created a fantastic model for starting these satellite projects that can then become autonomous, serving their own regions, so that StoveTeam can move on and do the same thing in new regions that have a need for stoves as well. The only hang up here is that every single stove is provided by a donation. So what we need to do is raise a tremendous amount of awareness. We'll never be able to tackle this issue on the scale on which it deserves until we can elevate the status of this issue to be the same as worldwide epidemics like AIDS and malaria that everyone knows about at this point. It's only then that we'll be able to rise to meet the need that this exists on. If you want to get involved, please visit our website at stoveteam.org. Send us an email, sign up for our email newsletter, share this in conversation. Tell somebody about what you learned here today. 4 billion people cook this way. 4 million people die every single year from open fire cooking, mostly women and children. We have a little time for questions, so some questions are going to pop up above my head right now. Feel free to call out one of the questions that you'd like answered. Your meeting host can click on any of these options, and I'll pop up to answer the question.
What about Gates Foundation?
What about the Gates Foundation? So this is great timing. Just this year, the Gates Foundation announced that they are going to be providing more support for environmental projects. And not just that, but we actually saw them this year support their first stove building project. So we're really excited to approach them later this year when they put out the next call that they are accepting requests for funding.
Okay, somebody else.
Do you do reforestation?
What about water sanitation and reforestation? So these are super important issues as well. What StoveTeam has found is that since we're a small organization that is laser focused on providing cook stoves and doing the best possible job at that specific mission, we've decided instead to partner with other organizations that provide water sanitation and reforestation, organizations that have made it their mission to do a great job at those specific missions. So we have partnered with several organizations that do reforestation projects and water sanitation projects, and we hope to do it more in the future.
Do you receive government support?
What about government support? Unfortunately, StoveTeam has never received any support from the US government or from any of the governments of the countries where we work. It's not for lack of trying, but unfortunately, the issue of cook stoves still hasn't been recognized on the scale that it deserves. We definitely hope someday to be supported by the US government, and we'll continue approaching the US government and the governments of the countries where we work. But until then, the only support we're gaining from any government is on the local level in terms of logistical support to find the homes and understand the lay of the land.
Can a separate question?
No.
No, it's canned. Okay.
Yeah. Why not cook outside?
Why don't people just cook outside? There are a few reasons why this isn't a great option for many families. A lot of the time it is raining in Latin America, and in many areas it's cold, especially at night. So a family needs to be indoors to be comfortable and safe with their family. Additionally, in many areas, houses are clustered close together, so families don't have yards that they could use to cook in. They only have their indoor space.
What about solar ovens?
Why not build solar ovens? Solar ovens work fantastically well under the perfect conditions, and that's usually the middle of the day when the sun is shining for a few hours. Unfortunately, in a lot of Latin America, it's cloudy a lot of the time, and it rains a lot of the time. So that's time when a family would not be able to rely on a solar oven, and that's time when they would be likely to switch back to using their open cooking fire. We want to provide a solution that they can rely on no matter what the weather looks like. So that's why we're providing wood-burning cook stoves.
There's one. How do you choose to get who gets a stove?
Oh, that's a good.
How do we choose who gets a stove? So this depends on the project. Right now in San Martin Jilotepeque in Guatemala, the way we're operating is by relying on the municipality to tell us where is the greatest need for stoves and to help us understand the map of the region, which is a huge area, and how to get to each area efficiently, especially when families live very far apart from each other. In different areas and different projects, what we've often seen happen is that Rotary clubs or other organizations that are working on the ground in these countries will determine that there's a great need for stoves in a particular region or village, and then make a purchase of cook stoves from one of our partner projects, and then help distribute those stoves to that region.
I think there's just one more. Shall we do it?
Yeah.
Hi everyone, my name's Alex Eaton and I'm the Guatemala Country Director. I'm here in a house in San Martin Jilotepeque. We're building stove number 589 and I just want to show you the stove that's being built. So stove builder Abel is over here. He's building away and soon we'll have a completed stove. I just wanted to show you outside in San Martin. So you can see the beautiful sky out here and you can also see the people that are out. So I hope you have a wonderful day. I need to get back to stove building. Take care. Bye.
In presentation.
We got all of them, I think, yeah?
Yeah, we got all of them.
Okay, and then I don't know what happens when we do end presentation.
I think he sums it up or something.
Thank you so much for having me. I hope to get to talk to all of you again soon. And don't forget that maybe the most important thing any of us can do for this issue is to help raise awareness. Bring it up and talk to someone about it, forward an email on. Please visit our website at stoveteam.org. Thanks again for your time. Have a great day.
Let's go to Guatemala.
I know.
Yeah, I'm down to build some stoves.
Yeah.
Let's do it, Jesse.
Yeah,
Well, maybe I'll email them and see. We can, we got the endowment and Miles says we need to make more donations. So
Yeah, we're not donating enough.
and we're not doing enough. So that might be a good place to start.
Definitely. Yeah,
And
but you need to have a meeting and you need to do it the right way. So a lot of form.
Yeah. So we'll find out. The other thing was this one also has to deal with the environment, and it's another initiative that Rotary International is starting.
So I didn't
So, okay.
Oh.
Go ahead, Bill.
Brian, what was your point in terms of RI being involved? Was that RI is promoting this project particularly?
Yeah, feedback.
Yeah, it's RI is into environmental issues now, sort of like and polio and human trafficking. Now it's, you know, make the environment better. Did you get that?
Thank you. Yeah, I did.
I know I got bad connection. Okay.
No, that's fine. Got it.
So I just want to tell you guys, thank you. I just want to tell you guys next week, Dee Connor, who was the host at the earthquakes, he was the one that gave us the tour there. He's going to speak about commercial real estate in Santa Clara County. He's the one that actually built or was a developer in Almaden Ranch over there on by 87 and Almaden Expressway.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Okay. Does anybody else have anything to add?
Somebody's got a phone call.
What about
Yeah, I'm
words
sorry,
from,
I'm out of here.
what about words?
Okay.
Ending words from our president, Rebecca Boylan.
Still here.
Jerry, give me a second, A. And Dave, why do you always have to call me out? I speak when I need to. Did you guys cover the difference for the end of the year party, what we want to do with the band? Everybody was supposed to chime in.
Yeah, I have to look at the poll, but I'm pretty sure people just want to eat dinner, celebrate the end of the year.
Yeah.
So that's what we're going to do.
With or without the band?
Without the band.
Without any band at all? Zero.
No band. There'll be music from Greg.
Yeah, there's Greg and Jesse.
Yeah, Greg and Jesse. You're muted, Jesse.
My manager, Chris Chavez. He's got me booked.
We've already booked her up in Napa in 2 weeks.
That's right.
Okay.
But, yeah, I think, Hey, Brian, I got a question for you. I put down 2 guests. How do I retract that?
I'll do that.
Oh,
I'll do-
okay. I'm bringing my wife.
Okay, so
That's
it'd just be you and her. Okay.
That's 1. I should have put 1. Yeah.
So I'm bringing my cousin, so that's 2.
Okay.
So I can pay
I'm
Chris.
bringing,
for it.
I'm bringing at least one who's gonna drive me, but they'll stay.
Okay.
Perfect.
All right. So I'm going to ring the bell.
Greg might bring his friend Jimmy.
Oh, okay.
Ring my bell.
Have a good one, everybody.
Thank you guys. Have a great weekend.
I got it.